President Duterte wants all Filipinos to be vaccinated against COVID-19. In an address last night, the president says he's working on securing more funds so that the entire population can get a dose once a successful vaccine is developed. Mr. Duterte also said that Russia is planning to build a pharmaceutical plant in the country. Sputnik V clinical trial planned this month has yet to begin. Instead, the government is preparing for trials next month, but did not say which vaccines will be included. Carolyn Bonkin has more on this. Carolyn, when will we know which vaccines will be tested here?
Well, it depends. For the Solidarity trial, it'll be based on the list that will come from the World Health Organization. The WHO was supposed to release this list last September, but they haven't announced anything yet. The Health Department now expects to get the list within the month and begin the trial by November. For the independent studies, 3 companies already submitted an application for late-stage trials here: the Gamaleya Research Institute for Sputnik V, China Sinovac, and Janssen Pharmaceuticals of Johnson & Johnson. They're holding phase 3 trials in other countries, but Johnson & Johnson had to pause the study to investigate an unexplained illness that a participant developed. The OSCPCH, or the Executive Director, Jaime Montoya, said Sinovac is moving to the next stage. It passed the vaccine experts panel screening of the result of its phase 1 and 2 clinical study. The Ethics Review Board is currently evaluating Sinovac, while Gamaleya and Janssen's proposals are still with the vaccines experts panel pending the submission of additional documents. Pia.
Carolyn, does this mean that Sinovac, the Chinese vaccine, will begin trials here next month?
Nothing is final yet, Pia. The DOSC Vaccine Experts Panel is just one of the regulators that will screen a proposal. They'll verify the result of the first 2 phases, whether the vaccine is safe, and then a candidate vaccine will go through the Ethics Review Board, which will evaluate if the process is ethical. Is it humane? What are the participants' options here? What are the safeguard measures? Then to the Food and Drug Administration, they'll check the protocols, how they'll choose the participants, how they'll administer the vaccines, its storage and transportation. FDA Director Eric Domingo says they cannot process Sinovac's application until they have all the documents, including the Vaccine Experts Panel and the Ethics Review Board's endorsements.
We haven't seen the application yet. We don't know the details. And it's really a matter of when the submission is given to the FDA.
He said that the clinical study, or a clinical study, may last around 3 to 6 months. Back to you.
And Carolyn, who is going to be getting the first doses of a successful vaccine? Because last night, the president said it's going to be the poor, the police, and the military. That's going to be prioritized. However, the WHO, World Health Organization, recommending that frontline health and social care workers, the elderly, and those with underlying medical conditions be vaccinated first.
Well, Domingo says the country may or may not follow the WHO recommendations. For the Philippines, he said it's really up to the president, to the IATF, and the health department. But here in the country, there's still no guidance on it yet because the president has a different priority group in mind: the poor, the police, the soldiers. Well, the DOST said last week that the initial doses from the WHO will go to the healthcare frontliners, the sick, and the elderly, which is basically almost the same with the WHO. What we know is the health department is still crafting the protocols. But again, the WHO said kailangan talagang ma-maximize yung impact ng vaccine dahil inaasahan na limited yung initial supplies. That's why they suggested for it to be given to health workers who take care of the patients and to those at high risk of getting critically ill from the virus, Pia.
Carolyn Bonkin there reporting.